Hello and welcome to the debut episode of Under the Wrist Tape. I'm Steven.
I'm Jake.
And we're going to be reviewing several wrestling shows such as Raw, SmackDown, and Impact Wrestling. For this episode, we're going to review the recent episode of Raw, and we like to kick it off with a segment called Win and Fail. So Jake, tell us your win.
My win would be Edge coming in to wake up John Cena, so to speak, as he said. Edge and John Cena had one of the best rivalries of 2000s. Back in 2006, they had an excellent series of matches with an unbelievable and unforgettable tables, ladders, and chairs match at Unforgiven, where the passion of the hometown crowd cheering for Edge, playing the heel, was unbelievable, and the negative reaction to Cena winning just escalated that feud. My fail, Brock Lesnar's in-ring promo. So uncoordinated, so repetitive. We know he has so much more potential than that, as shown by the promo where he says he's not a superstar, he's an ass kicker. I just saw such a downhill slide from that promo.
Yeah. I want to get to your win for a second. When I was actually watching Raw, I thought that someone like Rowdy Piper would have came out to inspire him, because I'm not saying that Edge isn't a legend, but he's still young because he retired early, right?
Exactly.
Well, I would have thought someone like Rowdy Piper to come out because he had the experience, and he's tried to like motivate John Cena before with The Rock, so I guess that would have been a little bit repetitive. And seeing actually Edge come out and try to like bring up the fire, I did not suspect Edge at all to come out, right? Like, you kind of marked out when Edge came out, right?
You got it. Edge is one of the best workers of all time, and he's Canadian.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. And then to your fail, I just want to talk about Brock Lesnar for a little bit. You brought up his video promo, which was excellent. One of the best video promos in a while, I'd say.
Oh, for sure.
I like how he brings vulgarness into the PG like wrestling that it is right now. Like, he's trying to change the state of PG wrestling into something more of where our age and older can enjoy.
He needs to.
Yeah, but he's not technically changing it back to the Attitude Era, at least something more aggressive than PG era, and I think we would love that type of wrestling way better. I like how aggressive he's being, because with the interview with Josh Matthews, like he didn't talk, because we both know he's not a talker. Like I love Brock Lesnar, but he's definitely not like a mic guy like Chris Jericho, Edge, and people like that. But he's a guy who just goes in, dominates, he breaks bones, busts people's mouths open like John Cena. And I like how the WWE's recognizing his UFC career, and he's actually allowing him to put his sponsorships on his attire, which I think is actually pretty good. The only wrestler who's ever been able to allow sponsorships on their gear, unless you count Undertaker's
the gloves.
The glove, but I don't really think you should count that.
No.
And so I guess I'll say my win now. And my win, without a doubt, has to be Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
Just the way that they involved Daniel Bryan in the match against Mark Henry and Sheamus, the way he came as a referee, encouraged him to hit him to get him fired, the fast count, and I love, I'm not going to say what happened on SmackDown yet, I guess I'll say that on SmackDown, but I just love the way what they're doing with Daniel Bryan right now. He's evolving into something we've never seen him before in the WWE. We've seen him as Bryan Danielson, and we loved him as Bryan Danielson. He's evolving in something at that level as Bryan Danielson. As Daniel Bryan in the WWE, he's been here, but as Bryan Danielson, he's here, and he's slowly reaching back up to that level. And I also love how after the match with Sheamus and Mark Henry, he actually attacked Sheamus, where before he would run away. Even though Mark Henry distracted Sheamus, I still love how Daniel Bryan got him on the ground, started aggressively kicking him, and then put him into the LeBell lock, now the Yes lock. But I just love the aggressiveness that he's like getting now.
Well, back on the independent circuit, if you watch matches from Ring of Honor and Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, where I believe Bryan Danielson hit his prime. One match I remember was at Pro Wrestling Guerrilla's 4-year anniversary show. I believe the name of it is Giant Size Annual 4. He faced El Generico after El Generico and Kevin Steen just won the World Tag Team titles. At the time, El Generico was the Pro Wrestling Guerrilla World Champion and the World Tag Team Champion, and these two had a match 20 minutes after both of them had been wrestling on the card. Earlier in the show, Brian Danielson faced the Necro Butcher, who, if you know anything about the independent circuit, you know that Necro Butcher is one of the toughest guys to face.
Yeah.
Comes in bandaged head. Generico rips the bandage off. They just have an aggressive back and forth match, and seeing Daniel Bryan become this aggressive now is finally starting to see his potential. He's been held back. They need an aggressive technician. Some guy the likes of William Regal. That's who Daniel Bryan is starting to remind me of.
Yeah, I definitely don't. Getting to how you said William Regal, he was his trainer, right? I don't like how they emphasize how Shawn Michaels was his trainer, because he wasn't. Like, even Daniel Bryan would say, no, William Regal is the guy who trained me. He's a good wrestler. You know, not disrespecting Shawn Michaels. He's obviously one of the best performers of all time.
Obviously.
But I just don't like how they say Shawn Michaels treated him better than William Regal. Now, going to my fail now. Oh, wait, I just want to say something about Daniel Bryan a second. I like how he's getting, you know how he's arrogant, egotistical, but he's getting the most, like, pop, like the yes chants. Like, if the crowd isn't full of little Jimmies, like, they're behind Daniel Bryan. And it's amazing, because he's getting, like, cheered more as a heel than he was as a face, and he's getting so over. I love it. I love how they are supporting Daniel Bryan. Now, going to my fail, and this utterly disgusts me, is Nikki Bella winning the Divas Championship over Beth Phoenix. One, Beth Phoenix is the best Divas wrestler in the WWE right now. And to lose to someone like Nikki Bella?
Atrocious.
Yeah, and I read that Nikki and Breeze Bella's contract was expiring soon, and they threatened Vince McMahon to, like, if they didn't give them, I'm guessing that if they didn't give them a title shot, they would leave. I would say, okay, hit the high road. Like, what are they? They're not even good wrestlers. If anything, I look at them, like, at my private sessions alone, but I don't watch them for wrestling, you know? So that's definitely my fail.
Yeah, Beth Phoenix falling down, spraining her ankle. I don't know if it was a storyline or not, but if they did, it might have been a good idea to call that roll-up on the fly.
You know what I'm thinking? I think, if anything, I would only like Nikki having the title if she jobs to Karma. What I'm guessing, if Beth Phoenix is getting her rematch at Extreme Rules this Sunday, what I'm thinking is that Beth Phoenix and Nikki Bella is fighting, and then we hear Karma's music. She comes out, she destroys both of them, and she breaks Beth Phoenix's ankle. So Karma gets the title, she runs it for a year. Boom, Beth Phoenix comes back at WrestleMania 29, and they set up a huge feud for Karma and Beth Phoenix. That's the only good thing I can see coming out of this. So, I want to talk about Chris Jericho and CM Punk. Did you like the segments that went on at Raw?
I'm personally skeptical on it, because I think the whole going to Punk's straight edge side, I mean, we always know he's embraced it. Back in the Straight Edge Society, he embraced it as a heel. Early on, when he was running for the rebooted ECW, he was embracing that, like, I'm straight edge, I'm drug-free.
Yeah.
I always liked the idea, but now Jericho challenging it, I just find it to be a really stupid idea and lack of creativity on behalf of the writers. However, I must admit that the field sobriety test this past Monday, that was hysterical after Punk faking being drunk for the initial part of it, and then at the end him walking down the line doing the Ric Flair / Jeff Jarrett strut down the line. I thought that was very entertaining.
I like the overall feud. Like, I like how personal they're getting, but I knew that if they actually gave the title to Chris Jericho because CM Punk was drunk, I would have been furious. Because you don't do that to a guy who has such strong beliefs, even, because I know they've done it to many people before. Because I'm just going to bring out Rey Mysterio back in ECW, the mask versus hair match, I believe. And they forced Mysterio to take off the mask.
That was WCW.
I thought I said W. Did I?
You said ECW.
Okay, WCW I meant. And they forced Rey Mysterio to take off the mask. Like, he had such strong beliefs about having the mask on. I don't think you just don't do that to a person.
Well, all Mexican luchadors have that strong belief in their mask. That's their identity, and
Yeah.
removing that is such a strong fracture of the rules in Mexican culture. In a independent promotion known as Chikara,
Yeah.
attempting to remove the mask, I believe, can result in a disqualification in a match.
Yeah. Okay, now I want to get to Chris Jericho's match with Kofi Kingston. So repetitive. I've seen this match throughout the past couple of months on Raw at least 3 or 4 times. And at the Road to WrestleMania tour, where they went to different cities and put on house shows, every house show had Kofi Kingston versus Chris Jericho. I went to the one that came to Toronto, and it was Kofi Kingston versus Chris Jericho. There's just too much Kofi Kingston versus Chris Jericho. Am I right?
Yeah, they need to mix up the opponents a little better. There's so many stars who Jericho could be wrestling because they're now doing a super show and everything.
Yeah.
Want to incorporate guys from SmackDown? Maybe give Justin Gabriel a shot at Jericho. I mean, yeah, maybe just to boost Jericho's stock a little, give him some momentum, but feature the guys more.
Yeah. Okay, now I want to get to the match with R-Truth and Lord... Wait. A-Train or Lord Tensai?
Or Giant Bernard.
Yeah. So I want to talk about R-Truth. As a heel, when he teamed with The Miz versus...
The Rock and John Cena?
Yeah. Right there, I think he was excellent as a heel. I loved him as a heel. I loved him saying the crowd sucked. He disliked little Jimmys. He was excellent, you know?
A paranoid
Yeah.
conspiracy, the
And
whole thing
he was
just
main
excellent.
eventing. He was
Exactly.
main eventing. But now he's embracing little Jimmy, and it's like little Jimmy saying, "Get out of the main event. Job to Lord Tensai. Go on Superstars." I say get rid of little Jimmy, try to be a bad guy again, and main event.
I personally thought everything R-Truth did in 2011 was great.
Yeah.
I think everything he's done in 2012 so far has been horrendous.
Yeah, I easily could have said R-Truth was my top 5 as when he was a heel.
Oh.
He was entertaining, he was great in the ring.
He was winning matches.
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
actually wrestling in matches that had some importance to the card.
Yeah, now I want to go to the other guy that was in the match, Lauren Tensai. How do you think he's doing so far in the WWE?
So far, I think his push has been good. I mean, a victory over John Cena, I mean, yeah, it was a bit of a screw job ending, but a victory over John Cena should improve his stock. His debut match against Riley, you don't usually see a big guy with so much versatile offense. That hanging double underhook suplex he does,
Yeah.
the poison mist and the iron claw.
I love him bringing back the poison mist.
That's the one thing I missed when Tajiri left.
Yeah.
Well, Tajiri was one of the best talents. He was just so underutilized.
Yeah.
The poison mist itself in Japanese culture, so many times, I mean, Great Muta. Actually, the Great Kabuki was the guy who initially started the poison mist, and then Great Muta just revolutionized it. And then Tajiri bringing it to the American culture, and now Lord Tensai bringing it back because of his A-Train's whole Japanese gimmick. I just love seeing that again, but Lord Tensai, not A-Train, I gotta get that right. His offense, it's just so different than the rest of the big guys, because Big Show and Great Khali, clubbing, lifting people up. Tensai's combining a bit of submission moves, the aerial when he does the senton,
Yeah.
and then his choke bomb, for lack of a better term. I just love how this guy brings all the aspects, and then the tattoos on the face.
Yeah.
It looks a little weird.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wasn't that fond of it. I don't know. I want to talk about his domination over at New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Oh.
It was actually, I did look it up, and he did pretty well. He won 65% of his matches, which is you can say is domination. But back when he was in WWF and WWE, he only won 45%. Do you think that's because back in those days, the roster was a lot greater than it was today? Because now he comes back in WWE, he's been on undefeated streak. Do you think that's because the rosters back in the day is this, and now it's this?
Well, back in the day, you had a lot of the premium superstars. You had The Rock in his prime, you had Triple H in his prime, you had Stone Cold in his prime. He was wrestling as a tag team wrestler primarily with Test.
Yeah.
They didn't achieve much success, except for having Trish Stratus as their manager.
Yeah.
But I personally believe that he works better as a tag team wrestler. Over in New Japan, he formed a tag team known as Bad Intentions with Carl Anderson, and they held the titles for a year or two, I believe. They were just dominating everybody because over in Japan, the guys aren't all steroid freaks. They're actually
Yeah.
wrestlers. You got guys like, a good example would be Minoru Tanaka.
Yeah.
I believe is his name. He wrestled in TNA for 2006 during the World X Cup. A lot of the guys there use a shoot style. A lot of kicks, a lot of strikes, and wrestling pretty much. WWE is just clubbing.
Yeah.
I believe their styles there, because of their strength and their size, enable them to succeed and get a big push.
I want to talk about this Kane versus Orton feud. No value at all whatsoever. Before WrestleMania, they saw, oh no, Orton doesn't have an opponent. Who doesn't have an opponent that's at least at Randy Orton's level? Oh, Kane. Throw him in a ring.
I must admit, I disagree with you on this one.
Really?
I find this Kane-Orton feud, I've never liked Randy Orton. I've always liked Kane,
Yeah.
except as a face. Now that he's back as his heel,
Well, I'm not saying Kane individually isn't great. I love him as a heel. I'm just saying this feud has nothing to it. All that has now is that Kane went after Cowboy Bob Orton. That's it.
well, back at WrestleMania, Kane won with a chokeslam off the top rope, I believe.
Yeah.
But you don't see very much these days. You don't see those avalanche-type moves.
Yeah.
I thought that was a nice high spot for that.
Mm-hmm.
And they just need something to escalate this feud a little further. I mean, bring back Paul Bearer. You gotta love it. Every time
I love
Paul
that.
Bearer is on.
I also loved how Kane brought him out and then pushed them back in. That was hilarious.
kind of embracing that monster side a little further.
Yeah.
I'm actually excited to see what they're going to do this Sunday. Because when it's Falls Count Anywhere, they're going all over the building. They could bring in new elements. I just hope they don't water it down.
Yeah.
I hope they live up to the Extreme Rules portion of the pay-per-view and actually have a good old hardcore match. I'm not allowed to say anymore.
Cody Rhodes. You gotta like Cody Rhodes, right?
He's a fantastic talent.
Now, Big Show. Nothing. Like, I love Cody Rhodes, but him feuding with Big Show, it does nothing for him. Having Big Show hold the Intercontinental title is boring. Doesn't really do anything for Big Show. I'm just bored of Big Show. That's all I can say for this dude, really. Bored of Big Show.
There's no space for Big Show anymore. I mean, yeah, he was... The big guys, they really need to go. It's World Wrestling Entertainment.
Yeah.
Entertainment part, moderately, but the wrestling part is severely lacking. Except for CM Punk, Chris Jericho, Daniel Bryan, and Cody Rhodes. They need to keep the Intercontinental title on some guy like Cody Rhodes,
Yeah.
who could make the mid-card a little prominent again.
Yeah.
Make it interesting to watch. Having the title on Big Show is just wasting space.
Yeah. Alberto Del Rio. What I understand is that when he came back, he would go for the main event status. He was going to be a lot more aggressive. And what we've seen on Raw and SmackDown is that he's going to go after whoever wins between Sheamus and Daniel Bryan. But when he tag teamed with Cody Rhodes against Big Show, he wasn't that aggressive. He ran away.
Back. I personally think Del Rio, he's underutilized.
Yeah.
He needs to be in that main event because he has that potential. Son of the legendary luchador Dos Caras, I believe. And when he was wrestling in Mexico, he was doing pretty well for himself. Held last year, pretty successful year, won the Royal Rumble, won Money in the Bank, Won the WWE title once, was it, or twice? Because he won it at
Twice.
SummerSlam.
Yeah. And then he won against the Triple Threat.
In the Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
But yeah, Del Rio needs to be put back in that main event picture quickly, because he's another interesting aspect they could use.
Yeah. I want to talk about the pre-show for Extreme Rules. Do you think it benefits the United States Championship for having it at the pre-show, or do you think it makes it less important?
Well, it's Santino Marella against The Miz, correct?
Yeah.
The Miz needs to win this match
Yeah.
to salvage the United States title.
I don't even think the Miz should be at the United States title level. You see last year at WrestleMania, which he has brought up so many times in his promos, he won at WrestleMania against John Cena for the WWE title. Now you see him at the next WrestleMania, he wasn't even on the card until the last minute, where he was with Team John Laurinaitis.
Which he did have an effect on.
Yeah, he won the match for him. I guess they knew that was going to happen, but still, him not being on the card till the last minute really decreases his value as a wrestler. And I think I'm not afraid to admit that I actually like The Miz. I like his work on the mic. His in-ring work isn't that great.
He still needs a little work
Yeah,
on
but
that, but on the mic,
he's a good entertainer. Especially seeing him live, how he interacts with the crowd. It's good. So do you think it's beneficial for having it as the pre-show, or?
I don't think it's a good move to have it on the pre-show, but they need to get that title off Santino. Because Santino Marella, he's an entertaining wrestler,
Yeah.
but he's mid-card for life, generally. Because I do not see him posing an actual threat to anybody. His signature move is a poke to the throat.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Moving to the tag team match with Brodus Clay, Hornswoggle versus Dolph Ziggler and Jack Swagger, which was sponsored by Taco Bell, which I see is reasonable because Brodus Clay does love his Taco Bell. But the match, I finally agreed with Michael Cole when he said, we actually sat through that. Like, the match is ridiculous. You have someone like Hornswoggle teaming up with Brodus Clay, but on the other side you have two great performers, one even greater than the other, which is Dolph Ziggler, who does not deserve the job to Brodus Clay at all.
The whole Brodus Clay gimmick itself is just completely stupid. Funkasaurus, get rid of him already, or you need some sort of gimmick change. Back on Superstars, he was pushed as this mastodon, this giant who couldn't be beat.
Well,
and now, look at him, he's a dancing fool.
Yeah, from what I understand, though, his gimmick idea went to Mark Henry. When Mark Henry went all that Hall of Pain monsters thing, from what I understand, that was Brodus Clay's initial gimmick. But it went to Mark Henry, and he came back as this dancing disco Funkasaurus, which is ridiculous.
I see no place in the WWE for Brodus Clay. I see no place for Hornswoggle.
Yeah. And I just want to see Dolph Ziggler in the main event status.
Jack Swagger at the top of the mid-card.
Yeah, I don't really think Jack Swagger is a main event guy. He's pretty good in-ring performer, but Dolph Ziggler is the ultimate package.
He's got the ability.
Yeah.
He's got the charisma.
Yeah.
Put those two together. You got main event status right there.
Yeah. I just want to bring up one fact. Hornswoggle, out of any well-known promotion and out of all time, is 44th in his win and losses ratio. Do you think it's disrespectful to have Hornswoggle represent arguably the top 50 best wrestlers of all time?
You know what? I have no interest in Hornswoggle. I see no reason for him being in the WWE. I see no reason for him to represent them.
Yep. And the fact that he has a 69% win ratio is just... Well, we like to end the episode with a segment called Ask a Biased Black Guy. So, Jake?
Biased black guy? Who is your favorite wrestler?
Truth.
Well, I guess that's all the time we have in this episode. This has been Under the Wrist Tape. We'll see you again. Please support Daniel Bryan. Thank you.